Yeah, because 3 weeks from now is finals week, right? So your goal should be to exempt as many as possible. So hopefully you haven't had more than 4 absences in here or 4 absences in advisory. Because if you have 4 absences, more than 4 in advisory, you can't be exempt from any final. You got to take them all. So that's the rough part. Don't miss advisory. But the other things are you have to have a 75% in the class that you want to exempt, and no missing assignments. Everything's turned in. So if you have missing assignments, that's going to cause you to have to take the final. And the final is going to cover the whole semester. Questions about everything we've done. So you definitely want to get everything turned in and give yourself a chance at being exempt. And the nice thing is, if you're exempt, you have the option of taking the final just to see how you do. And if it raises your grade, it counts. If it lowers your grade, I turn my head and look like you never took it. I just ignore it. So it gets thrown out if it would lower your grade if you're exempt. So that's the big benefit of being exempt. You can be exempt, take a final, and then it would only help you. Like if you're sitting there with a 79, you're like, if I take the final, maybe I can bump it up to an 80. Maybe so. You could be exempt at a 79 because if you don't have any missing assignments and all that good stuff. Anyway. Well, it's good to see all these folks this morning, all these bright faces. Well, let's take a look at what we're going to have this week for an assignment. Let's go to our lesson in programming. So I'll put this up on the screen for us. Let's go to our grade screen as usual here. So if I click on the little grade thing, if you're not using the grade screen, you're missing out on something, because this is where you figure out if you're missing something. You can click on this little icon right here, or you can go to grades right there as an alternate way to get there. But this has every assignment for the whole semester. So if there's any zeros here and you look and you didn't submit, maybe this is blank, there's not a submitted date, that means there's a missing assignment. That's the best way to know if you're missing anything. I know looking in Home Access Center, you can kind of scroll through there, but it makes it real easy for this class. Just scroll through the grade screen and buzz, because I have to transfer this into Home Access Center. So this is the most accurate. All right. Look, we have 3 weeks left, 3 lessons left. We're going to talk about intrusion. We're doing our cybersecurity unit to end the year. Like I said, we're not writing any programs, but let's look at 7.02 intrusion this week and talk some more about the cybersecurity stuff. Intruder alert. Yes. Any sort of forcible or illegal activity on a digital network is considered an intrusion. Someone got into your network unauthorized. So these unauthorized activities almost always jeopardize the safety of a network and sensitive data. Because if people are not authorized, they're probably looking to do some damage in there or steal some information that would be very detrimental to the business. Intruder attacks can range from mild to serious. Some attackers just like the thrill of being able to hack into a system, while others intend to access, steal, and disrupt things. So here's some common examples of intrusion. Could be a website defacement. You see that sometimes, an attack on a website that changes visual appearance. You'll say some of these activist groups like PETA will try to get into a meat company's website or chicken or some food place that has meat, and they'll trash their web page and make, because, doing nice illegal activities like that help benefit your cause and make people supportive to you. No, it really doesn't. But yeah, that's a website defacement thing. An unauthorized access that uses an unattended logged in workstation without permission. You could have data exfiltration. Notice it doesn't say infil. This is exfiltration. That's copying a database that has credit card numbers or other information. You just make a copy of it. So if the business doesn't have good cybersecurity, they may never know you got in there, right? Because you didn't delete anything, you didn't change anything, you just made copies. Data breach, where you view sensitive data like payroll records, medical information, without being authorized to do that. Packet sniffing. I know that sounds a little disgusting, doesn't it? But running a packet sniffer on a network to capture unencrypted sensitive data, because data is sent across networks in packets. And so there's called this packet sniffer where they can just check and see what data is being transferred in there. War dialing. dialing into an unsecured modem and getting internal network access, phishing, posing as an executive, calling the help desk, resetting the executive's email password, and using the new password. Pretty sneaky, huh? Oh, yeah, this is Bob up here. I'm the vice president of finances. I forgot my password. If you call someone at the help desk that doesn't know your voice, doesn't know who you are, get them to reset your password for you. It's password cracking. That's attempting to gain an unauthorized access using common passwords and algorithms to guess passwords. And that's one of the most common ones is they have algorithms that run and check, and try to steal someone's password by guessing it. So there's 3 types of intruders we're going to talk about. So anyone who accesses a computer or network without permission is an intruder. Just plain and simple. If you don't have permission to be in there, you're an intruder. Not all intruders are the same. Not all intruders are considered hackers. There's 3 different kinds, and they can all wreak havoc. We'll see. A masquerader. You think of a masquerade party or something where you put on a costume to look like you're someone else. A masquerader does not have authorized computer access, but penetrates a system's controls to exploit a legitimate user's account. For example, if an official user, someone who should be in the network, inadvertently leaves a computer open and logged in, a coworker or someone passing by could act as a masquerade attacker. You didn't log out before you left your computer. Someone else walks by, your computer's still logged in, they get in there and do damage to the system. They're likely to be an outsider, most often. How about a misfeaser? May not have ever heard that word before. A misfeaser, that's a legitimate user who accesses programs, information, or resources for which access is not authorized. So it's someone that is part of the network, but they're getting into places that they're not authorized on their user account. Or it could be an authorized user, but misuses their access privileges. They're called a misfeaser. They're generally an insider when you talk about a misfeaser. And then the clandestine user. Little hooded figure over here. A clandestine user seizes control of the system and uses this control to evade audit logs and access controls or suppress audit collections. Look at audit logs is recordings of user actions, like the number of failed login attempts. It records every one of those failed login attempts. This could be either an insider or an outsider, either one. All right, a little knowledge check here. Oh, let me open up the chat so I can see what you're saying. Move each characteristic to the intruder it describes. Okay, an authentic user who accesses resources for which such access is not authorized. Is that a masquerader, a misfeaser, or clandestine? They are an authentic user. It is someone who has permission to be in the network, but they're accessing resources that they shouldn't be allowed to do. Rebecca says that's a misfeaser. Everyone agree with that? Bring it down to misfeaser. It's too long to fit in the box. If I'll just let go, it does fit that. How about a user who could be either an outsider or an insider? Is that generally a masquerader or is that generally a clandestine user? Generally, can't really tell what's insider or outsider just by the name. Could be either one. I can scroll up if we need to. I don't have to scroll up far. Outsider, insider. Yeah, that's the clandestine user. Which means we'll penetrate a system's control to gain access to accounts as the masquerader. How about another one? A user who seizes controls in order to evade auditing and access controls. This is kind of a sample of like questions you get on the assignment after this. So this is just a way to practice before you take that assignment at the end of the lesson. Who seizes control to avoid auditing in order to evade auditing and access controls? All right, I'm going to scroll up. You guys ain't got it. Either that or you're asleep this morning. Oh, look at that. Didn't have to scroll far again. Evade audit logs and access controls. Clandestine. Likely an outsider without authorized computer access. We know that's a masquerader. They're authorized, but they misuse is the misfeasor. All right. Got all those working. Page 3. How hackers roll. Various names are used to describe those who can defeat computer security systems. Hacker and intruder are both terms for individuals who have the skills to gain unauthorized access to computer systems. However, not all are the same. Not long ago, hacker was a neutral term for a skilled computer user. You can be considered a hacker even if you're not doing anything bad. You know, man, you're really good at computing. You're a hacker, dude. You can do it. But it's evolved into describing someone whose intent is illegal or malicious. So hacker now really is a negative term. It used to be pretty neutral. Anyone who was really good at programming, good at computers, they would just call them a hacker, just as a compliment. But now it's really evolved into something different. So there are different types of hackers. White hat hackers. Now we like the white hat hackers. They're considered the good guys of cybersecurity. They're generally hired to work with organizations to strengthen the security. So a white hat hacker has permission to gain access to restricted networks and computer systems with the intent of finding security flaws. It said, all right, I'm giving you permission to get into our network, but I'm not going to give you a username and password. You're seeing, are they able to break into your system? You're trying to keep them out, but you've hired them. You try to break in, and then once if you are able to do that, then let's sit down and discuss how you're able to do that so we can fix those flaws, because obviously we missed something in our security. So it's important to note that white hat hackers are the only ones who operate legally and ethically. Other hackers are likely to get, legal consequences if they catch you doing that. So white hat hackers, there's if you're good at breaking into computer systems, you can actually make a living at it legally, not get arrested for it. Then there's black hat hackers. Now these are generally named after the old cowboy and western shows. Used to be the good guy in the old westerns wore a white hat and the bad guy wore a black hat. So it was just kind of one of those Hollywood things. And it's a term that's used now for hackers. So the black hat hackers, they attempt to gain unauthorized access to systems and networks for malicious reasons. They want to delete things. They want to change things. They want to steal information. They inflict damage by compromising the security systems and altering functions of websites and networks. They go in there to do bad things. Then you got gray hat hackers. So as you might think, that's kind of in between white and black. Sometimes hacking is not clearly black and white. Gray hat hackers try to gain access to networks and computer systems in the same ways that black hats do, but not necessarily with malicious intent. They're not looking to go in there and delete files and destroy things. Their goal is to disclose the loopholes and vulnerabilities to law enforcement or intelligence agencies. Maybe they weren't hired by the company, but they wanted to get in to just show that they could do it. Look, I can hack your system. And they'll do that and then let them know afterwards, or let law enforcement know I was able to hack into their system. They didn't do anything when they got in there. So usually this is done with the intent to protect. See, if I can do it, someone else can do it, and somebody else may be doing bad things. So I'm just letting you know I was able to get in there. But note, it is still illegal to do that because they didn't have permission to hack into the system. So on rare occasions, gray hats have been known to demand money. Look, I found this flaw in your system. Pay me and I'll tell you how I did it. I didn't do anything. I didn't steal any information. I didn't delete anything. I didn't do anything bad. But I got in, so pay me. So that kind of makes it where they may be prosecuted for sure. Blue hat. Let's talk about blue hat. These hackers are typically out for revenge. They've got a beef against that company. They're mad at them. They can be malicious, but usually the anger is directed at one person or the company. Maybe they're mad at whoever owns the company, and so they go into the website just seeking revenge, some type of wrong. And blue hats are typically new to hacking. That's usually not professional hackers, not folks that do it all the time. It's someone that just got really mad at some company and they want to do some damage on their website. Did you know there's a new term now called a hacktivist? That's someone who uses hacking to bring about political or social change. Like I said, like PETA breaking into some meat company's website. Hacktivist groups tend to obtain confidential information to promote some political agenda and often target media, financial, and political groups. Hacktivists might attempt to gather and release sensitive information to the public or even deface websites. You might have heard of different groups like Anonymous. That's a big one. WikiLeaks, LULZSec, LOLSec. Anonymous is a well-known hacktivist group made of many individuals with no known central command structure. The group's first widely known operation was an attack against the Church of Scientology back in 2008. The mission was to take the website offline and disrupt all their communications. It was started in response to the Church of Scientology's attempts to remove material from a highly publicized interview with Scientologist Tom Cruise from the internet in January 2008. Because information got out they didn't like. The Church of Scientology, it was exposing some of their secrets. And so they were trying to remove that information from the internet. And so a group started attacking their website. Getting all kinds of crazy stuff going on there. Let's look at page 4. The Cyber Kill Chain. That sounds like a good movie or something, right? The Cyber Kill Chain is a series of steps that traces the stages of a cyber attack from its early stages all the way up to where the theft of sensitive data came. The kill chain helps a cybersecurity professional understand and win the battle on ransomware, security breaches, and advanced persistent attacks. APTs, advanced persistent attacks. So what are the stages of the cyber kill chain? Well, number 1, planning and scoping. In this stage, the attacker determines what methods they're going to use to complete each phase. How am I going to break into this system? 2 is reconnaissance and discovery. Here, the attacker discovers what there is to know about a target and what security systems in place. What kind of cybersecurity is this website using? What is this company using? Weaponization. The attacker uses an exploit to gain access. And this could be several steps. Let's look at what an exploit is defined as. Code that takes advantage of some software vulnerability or some security flaw. They figure out where the weakness in the system is. Post-exploitation, lateral discovery, spread. The attacker performs a deeper network scan with the intention to discover more information about the network. And it uses this data to identify assets of interest. Look, there's those files there. I can get those. Number 5, action on objectives. Here, the attacker uses the access gained to secretly copy information from target systems. I can get all this credit card information. And retreat. Once the attackers achieve the initial goal without being detected, they can either maintain an advanced persistent threat or decide to withdraw from the network. Maybe they're going to stay logged in just to monitor what the network's doing. Or maybe they're just going to try to slip out. The attacker is going to remove any trace of his or her presence to help prevent attempts to identify the source of the attack. If they find logs where IP addresses are stored of anyone who gets to the network, they may go delete their IP address out of that. Different ways they try to retreat and cover their tracks. So as you can see, one person does not just accidentally penetrate a network. There's a lot of thought on a real attack. From planning to intruding to leaving without being detected, attacks are almost always planned and very deliberate. The dark web. My cybersecurity at home just gave me a notice that my wife's email address and a password was found on the dark web this weekend. It was an old password, but they found it. It was found on the dark web. So the internet is actually made up of 3 layers. There's the surface web, the deep web, and the dark web. So the surface web This is the top layer. That's what we use to access news, banking, entertainment, all this information websites. And these show up on search engines. Anytime you go to Google or any other search site and type up something, those are surface websites that pull up. The deep web, that's the next layer, and it contains information that you can't find on a search engine. There's pages that are hidden from search engines that they're not allowed to include. The sites are hidden and password protected. For example, online banking, draft blog posts, corporate virtual private networks, part of the deep web. It's like you may find your bank's website on a Google search, but you're not going to find the customer pages. All those pages you have to log in to access, those are part of the deep web. And then there's the dark web. Did you hear this? And it really is kind of a thing. That's the deepest layer, which is a network of untraceable activity on the network and typically requires the use of special software to even find it. To find anything in the dark web, you got to have some special software written to get into it. Navigating the dark web requires direction because everything is hidden. There's no search, there's no menu. You got to know what you're doing, and there's a lot of stuff down there. A lot of hackers, cyber hackers, have software that'll help them find things that you won't find. So cyber criminals rely on exchanging information with each other using web pages that are not indexed by search engines. Like I said, like my wife's username and password for her email, an old email, was found on the dark web. And these hackers and these people that scam call you and all that, they sell that information to each other. There's these lists of all your information, your phone number and name and all of that is passed through the dark web, and they sell that to each other. And it's nothing you would find by searching. It's hidden. These type of services provide cyber criminals with methods to securely exchange information and are often used for hiding illegal activity like fraud, extremism, terrorism, black markets. And understanding what these sites are and investigating them is an important source of counterintelligence. Activities designed to prevent or thwart spying, intelligence gathering, and sabotage by an enemy or other foreign entity. All these terrorist activity you see around the world, they exchange information, but most of the time it's nothing you'd be able to Google search. It's on hidden pages, dark web stuff. Since the dark web provides anonymity, cybercriminals enjoy the ability to share information without the fear of being uncovered. However, that also allows investigators to more easily infiltrate when they discover stolen data. So investigators can get into the dark web and nobody knows it's an investigator. They'll find stolen data like passwords, usernames, newly developed hacking tools could be sold to the dark web. So cybersecurity professionals must continually monitor security intelligence websites, blogs, and news groups. So let's look at these examples of threat intelligence feed providers. Symantec is one of them. Let's take a look at their website here. Symantec Vulnerability Response. So this is a whole company, provides support solutions. You can purchase this. And Symantec, cookies. I'll accept the cookies here. How to report a security vulnerability. So this is some of the sites that help you if you don't have good cybersecurity and you're getting hacked. There's many companies out here that can help. Microsoft, we know that one. Dark Reading. Let's click on that one. I don't know what Dark Reading. Okay, Black Hat News, Omdia Cybersecurity. So this talks a lot about the stuff that's going on. Stealth cyber attack methods are evolving. So this gives you lots of like news stories about a lot of what's going on in the hacking world. So this is a cybersecurity newsletter to help you combat all those hackers that are doing things. Amnesty International cites Indonesia as a spyware hub. So you can go here and get lots of good information about what's going on right now in the world of cybersecurity and where they're finding problems around the world, letting each other know. But anyway, so yeah, there's some interesting providers of news if you want to go check some of that out. And here's the interesting thing. The dark web was actually created by the U.S. government. What? Yes, it was. To allow spies to exchange information safely and anonymously. U.S. military researchers developed the technology known as TOR, the onion router, in the mid 1990s, and then they released it to the public domain for everyone to use. You're thinking, my goodness, why would they release that to the public? Well, they can monitor it. We learn a lot of stuff about what terrorist countries and terrorist groups are doing by monitoring what's going on the dark web. You can get information and see what messages are being sent forth. Even if you don't know exactly who sent it, you can a lot of times find out something in advance and stop those threats from ever happening. And that is it. Data breach. So security threats become highly sophisticated. A strong security system might deter some intruders and conversely attract others looking for a challenge. So cybersecurity professionals' jobs to understand how and where intrusion happens and what you can do to prevent it. So let's look at our assignment for this week. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just 5 questions. Wants to know the definition of a surface web. What stage in the cyber kill chain? What type of hacker? Blue, white, gray, blue, black, white. Which type of intruder? Clandestine, covert. See, this is where I said that was kind of practice there. Word outline packet. So there's our assignment. Answering questions about what we just read in this lesson. So interesting things out there. All right, guys. That's enough for today. Like I say, if you're missing any programs, take advantage of this. Get those turned in because time's running out in the semester. We just got 3 weeks of class left. So, this week is an A day. That's wrong. I'll change that. So we'll be here Wednesday and Friday if anyone needs help with the program, if your grade's below 70, anything like that. So we'll see you later in the week.
Bye.
Bye.
What? Just ride. I just need a ride. I just wanted a little ride. That's all I needed. Come on, Big D. Come on. What is it? What?
Painting.
I just wanted to go to the wedding. That's all I wanted to do.